started with questions for Coach Harbaugh.
Yeah, before that, I got a big game atmosphere in Schembechler Hall, ton of enthusiasm and excitement, and my energy level was already sky high, but then got a visit from the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, very close friend, and that just brought the enthusiasm to a new level. He let me know that he was coming in this weekend, and stop by. Could he stop by? Of course. There's few people I would rather see or be around than my good friend. It goes back to 1989. I was playing with the Bears, and Brad Muster was a huge fan of the Nature Boy and wrestling, and said, "Hey, you want to go to? There's a show at I can't remember which arena it was, but yeah, heck yeah, let's go." So we went, and first time I've ever been, backstage for anything, fight, concert, wrestling, and just his infectious personality, just instant friends. But the cool part was they said, grab a towel. You guys, you and Brad are on the hype squad, and just remember, going out and cheering for Rick. So been to many of his shows and competitions, and he's one of a kind, the best.
In the back, John.
Jim, you got Ohio State coming up, and I want to take a step back to your time at Stanford. There's a big game, quote unquote, coming up for them too. In about 2 weeks. What are your memories from that game, and how does it compare necessarily to your experience with Ohio State over the course of legacies, traditions, and the like?
What game are you referring to?
Which Stanford Cal game? I was just wondering
about
your experience with that.
Oh, the big game. Tremendous. What I think of rivalries, trophy games, the tradition. They're just feel very blessed and lucky to be involved with them. And this is a big game, and every one is a big game. Every game you play, it's a huge game, and how are we approaching this one? It's really the same as we approach all the games leading up to it. You'd be doing a disservice, a discredit for any game if you didn't approach it, with everything that you had. And our guys are, there's a bounce in the step. There's you don't even really have to you don't even have to talk about it much. I mean, everybody's aware, and just can't wait to play. Just looking for a time to play, a place to play, a team to play against.
On the left, Andrew.
If you just looked at the scores of your games, you guys have not really been, seriously tested this season. I guess, do you feel you have been, and how so?
Yeah, they've. We've been tested. I jotted down a few things. Things I was gonna just share with the team. It's just all the guys. It's been incredible. It's not just 9-0, but the way they play for each other, the way they produce. It's been a tremendous run, really. 21 straight wins at home, 21 straight Big Ten wins, 20 straight regular season wins. This past game, defense, one series over 6 plays. That was the last drive. And every other series was 1, 3, 4, 6 plays. 7 3-and-outs. 3, 1 first down and out. Both of those, 2 of those were field goals. And there's been 38 out of 98 drives, somewhere in that area. A third of the drives have been 3-and-outs. Forced 10 punts on 14 possessions. No team has taken a snap inside of our 10-yard line this season. And love the fact that that's 314 straight games, over 100,000 people at the game. And offense, career game for Roman Wilson, 9 catches, 143 yards. Got 10 touchdowns on the season. JJ, second highest passing yards of his career, 335. 5 straight Big Ten games with 40 points. That ties a Big Ten record. We have a school record, 12 straight games, 30-plus points. Blake Corum tied second all-time, now in rushing touchdowns, 47 rushing TDs. I love the fact we have 2 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 running back with 24 or more completions on the season. JJ just passed Tom Brady in career passing yards. And what a QB Tom Brady turned out to be. Passer rating, JJ is 11 points higher than any other quarterback in Michigan history. His yards per play of total offense is 9.7. That's 2 yards more than any player in Michigan history. JJ just passed me for completions for a career, and I think I'm next up on the yards. I think 87 more, and he passes me up in yardage. Just tremendous. Dave brought the stat, 3rd and long going into the Purdue game was 19 of 20 for 335 yards. And he's just been outstanding on the money down, on the 3rd down. Blake leads the country in rushing TDs with 16, and he also leads in touchdowns scored. Donovan Edwards, 200 yards from being the all-time leader in U of M for receiving yards for a running back. And then what I love, I think it just speaks so good to the discipline of our team. 24 penalties on the season. I don't know how many yards that. It's around 200, right? For 200 penalty yards, something like that. Also leading the country. And this past game, we had the 1 penalty. Technically, that would have been the 2nd game without a penalty we've had this year, and I've been told it's been 30 years since Michigan had didn't have a penalty in a game. 30 years that Michigan did not have a penalty in a game prior to this season. So really good. Also special teams wise, Tommy Doman had a great game. Game ball for him, 4 punts inside the 12-yard line. The 12, the 10, the 5, and the 3. Kickoff unit had a chance to cover a kick. And 12-yard line on the opening kickoff really set the tone of the game. Had the 32-yard punt return. Really happy JT made both his field goals, 30 and 31. Net punt was 43.2. And was, after those 4 punts, 7.5-yard line was their average starting field position. So, tremendous, specifically to the game. Will Johnson, he's guardian of victory once again. Just playing lights out from beginning to the end of that game. 4 tackles, 3 PBUs, and interception. Mason Graham, 31 plays, 3 tackles, but dominant block destruction. Mike B had a monster game. Mike Barrett, 6 tackles, 5 QB pressures. Heck of a game. Braden McGregor, 4 tackles, had the big 3rd down TFL, and he had the QB pressure in the red zone. Great job by him. Rod Moore really hitting his stride. 2 PBUs. Big play in the red zone, in the quarter of the end zone. And Makari Page. Makari Page had his best game of the season. So physical, 4 tackles, playing his best ball. Josh Wallace had a great game, great dominant game that he had in the first half. Great coverage, had a TFL, 2 tackles, and a PBU. And Junior Colson, just a stud, and there's nothing more you can say about him. Just football player in every respectful way. JJ talked about him, another elite performance by him. Blake, just great and consistently great at scoring the ball. I mean, give him the ball, and he puts it in the paint. Great at scoring the ball. Dono, he's running hard. Donovan Edwards running hard. Made the huge play in the game, and pass pro was excellent as well. And talked about Roman, career game. He makes the magic happen. It's been fun to watch him having the year that he's having and scoring the ball. Zach Zinter, also, he's playing the best of any offensive lineman in the country, in our opinion. And Timo too. Tyler Mosh. Want to talk about him? He just gets open. He finds the space. He makes the play. Makes the magic happen on third down. Been fantastic. And can't leave out Samaj Morgan. We used to give a game ball to the freshman of the week, offense, defense, special teams, but we've taken him out of that category. It's not really fair. Just game ball. Samaj Morgan's 2 huge plays in the game, and as I said, just balls in his hands. It's got a chance to go the distance. So pretty phenomenal in all respects. This past game and the season so far up to this point. And having said all that, now you're doing it again. You're doing it. You have to do it another time and put the puzzle together and get ready to play a team that hasn't had any points scored on them in the third quarter as well. And just be good. Just be good. It'll be about us. It'll be how we play, and we're gonna have to play good to win the game.
On the left there, Ryan.
Jim, you have a big milestone birthday coming up next month. How much have you thought about how long you want to coach for? Is there any specific accomplishments or achievements you would like to accomplish before it's all said and done?
Really, the only way I've really thought about that is might have been 5 or 6 years ago. We were at my brother John's place down in Bald Head Island, and we're sitting there talking to each other. We're talking about how long do you coach? What do you want? What do you accomplish? The same questions you're asking, and we're talking to each other about it. We really couldn't come up with anything definitive. So we asked the same question to our dad. Dad, how long do you coach? When do you know to stop coaching? And he said, I'll tell you, boys, here's what you do. You coach as long as you possibly can. You coach until you get to the point where you don't feel like you can coach another day. You can't make another script. You can't go out to the practice field. And that's when when you get to that point, coach for 2 more years. So that's the advice I heed.
Does that seem like good advice?
Yeah, it seems like great advice. And I've shared that advice. I don't keep that to myself. Just different coaches that that retire, or I always tell them congratulations, and then I just gotta get you this perspective from Jack Harbaugh.
How would you describe your passion for coaching now to maybe 5 years ago?
It's always been high. I love the competition, and or at least I thought it was high. I can tell you this. I mean, just these players, how they've been raised, their families. There was definitely there's a boost, an invigoration just being around these guys. And I mean, all the names, JJ and Dono and Blake and Aiden Hutchinson and just so many that. And I've told them the same thing. I mean, it's given me a huge boost.
On the left, Chris.
Earlier this year, when you guys were struggling to run in some games, you said it was one guy here, one guy there. One time it was 4 or 5. What did you see on Saturday night, and what can you do to fix it at this point in the year?
What are you talking about? Fix what specifically?
The run game and maybe get less plays that don't work, 3 yards or less.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's been these conversations, and there's football conversations about this all the time. You recall last year there was a real emphasis on could we throw the ball? Could we throw the ball downfield? And it was weekly that we addressed that in the press conference here. And then it got to the point where even last year where teams were saying we're going to stop the run and we're going to make J.J. McCarthy beat us. And we've seen how that has worked out. So there's an ability to you could drop 8 or 9 and have a really good chance of shutting down or eliminating a passing game. You could put 8, 9 in the box and have a really good chance. Safety's playing at linebacker depth, and you have a pretty good chance of shutting down the running game. But when you can do both, and you can do both effectively, that's where you want to be as an offense. And then it's the old sports adage, also one of my dad's favorites, and my favorite. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. So that's what I would say to that.
On the left, Michael.
Jim, as you prepare for Penn State, what have you seen about the way Drew Aller runs that offense and the way he's played this season?
Yeah, it's been good. You can see all the improvement. Just prototypical guy. Tall, smart, got great stature in the pocket, very athletic, strong. He's hard to get down on the ground. Courage, stands in there and throws it. He's an excellent quarterback.
On the left there, Tom.
With all the stuff off the field, I think you said that it was a motivator. What have you seen from the team? Are they angry? The players themselves, are they uniting around this, or what specifically have you seen from them?
Not really. What I've seen of our players, I think, what they do, no matter what happens, what it is, what emotion they're feeling. List one of the adjectives. I mean, they just work. They want to find some work, do some work. Something could be in their personal life. Something could be, in the game of football or school. Some kind of stressor or whatever, and you just go to work. Find some work, create some work for you to do. It clears the mind, it cleanses the soul, and a lot of times you get the clarity you need. Not every time, but a lot of the time you get the clarity you need, and bang, that's where we go from here. And then you have the benefit. You have the benefit of the work that you did, and it's always been my personal philosophy, and I see our players doing the same thing.
Separately with JJ, it seems like he holds a special place with you. Why do you think that is? With JJ,
He's supposed to have a special place with me?
Yeah.
He's like a beloved son. It's everything about him. The way he approaches everything. The way he treats young kids, the way he treats adults. I mean, the respect that he has. I mean, he'll pop up off his chair and go shake somebody's hand. Gratitude for everything. The smile with the kids. JJ, my son Jack feels like JJ's his best friend. And that's a beautiful thing that JJ first. That's his Jack's role model, and also JJ makes him feel that way. And I've seen that with dozens of kids. It's just you just wanna hug him. Hey, I just need one. That's the kind of guy that he is. And then, as a football player, in my mind, he's this Tom Brady in his preparation. His willingness to be coached, his wanting to do anything and everything that he can for his own personal growth and also for the team. And then he's got this side of him that I've only seen in one other quarterback, Jim McMahon, which is the love of playing and the fun, that a guy has playing the game of football. Yeah, I've never seen that personality, ultra competitive but empathetic, come together you know, in a football quarterback and the way it does, which is he's like a blend of Tom Brady and Jim McMahon from what I've seen. Hard not to love that.
On the right, Bob.
Jim, you talked about a priceless gift that your players are getting with all this stuff. It motivates them. But a lot of it is directed at you. So is it a priceless gift for you too? Do you feel the spotlight on you, and does that motivate you?
I mean, nobody's you know, wants criticism or you know, and that's why I work so hard to do everything right, you know, both on and off the field, because it's been that way for a long time, you know, since I was 22 years old. But if the criticism's directed at me and not on my adolescent kids at home or the players on the football team, then I'm okay with it.
Larry?
Jim, what have walk-ons meant to this team this season specifically, and also to your program since you've been here?
It's hard to put a value on that. I mean, priceless, invaluable to you know, to the team. I mean, you start saying the names, and you know, the Joe Taylors, the Jake Thaws. I mean, Jake took a hit in that game that would have killed a lesser man. Joe Taylor, I mean, continues to play through some of the football pains that a lot of guys have, you know, with you know, without flinching. And Danny Hughes, he's gonna be working through something, and he said, "I don't care about my knee. I just want to play." Hey, Danny, we got to stop you right there. You know, it's going to be out for a few weeks, maybe more, but we're going to have a next man go up. But you know, that kind of yeah. When I talk about stalwarts, and if you really were to look up that definition, that fits so many of our guys, and yeah, you could probably make the argument that you know, the guys that are have walked on, paying their own way. You know, there's even a more special place in the heart. You know, they're could make that argument. Sure felt that way about my players at USD. You know, playing for the love of the game and the love of the team and the loyalty of and the contributions that they make to the team, invaluable.
Reiner?
Jim, there was a report in The Athletic that they surveyed 50 coaches, and 94% of them thought that you crossed the line with the sign scouting allegations. And then obviously there's also reports from the Big Ten coaches lobbying, you know, Tony Petitti for some kind of punishment. How does that make you feel? And do you care about, you know, respect within the coaching industry?
Yeah. Again, I mean, I appreciate your question on that. Respect it, and know that you have to ask that. I've stated my position clearly, and just not in a position to discuss it now.
On the left there, Aaron?
Jim, going back to JJ, you mentioned in the third and long situations, what makes a quarterback so good? What are some of the traits of a quarterback in third and long?
Well, I don't know, really have that list in front of me, but it's the one that you can go and look at and say, you know, that is a real difference maker in evaluating quarterbacks. I mean, that's the money down. You know, they're really good at it, and they can move their team, or they're not as good at it. You know, that was something when I was, you know, and more so when I was a pro coach, and you're evaluating quarterbacks to draft. I mean, that was huge. That was right up there with, you know, points per possession, and in a lot of ways even you know, even more important. Football's such a team game, but boy, if there's a time when it's like, you know, closer to baseball, and you're counting on that, you know, that quarterback to, to make the play, the throw, under pressure, is he, blitz percentage. I mean, you're going to break all that down. I mean, how good is he in those pressure situations?
All right, last question here from John.
Jim, you touched on this, I think, earlier last month, but Jimmy Rolder with his redshirt season, where have you seen his growth thus far and, coming into the game against Michigan State? What's the plan for his future?
Yeah, so I mentioned there's some guys working through some things now, but there were some guys working through some things at the beginning of the season, and tip of the cap to them for now they're back in position to play. Jimmy's one of those. He's fully healthy, chomping at the bit, and we're at the point where he can go and still redshirt. To where he can play in 4 games plus the postseason and still have that redshirt year. So great job to Jimmy, attacking the rehab like so many guys have done. You've seen, Rod Moore back hitting his stride, Will Johnson early in the season working through something, Macari the same. But yeah, Jimmy's one of those guys that has attacked it. He's rehabbed. He's had a couple of really good weeks of practice. He's ready to roll.